Good morning. I'm just finishing my last bite of toast. How are you all this morning? I'm going to turn off my speaker and get ready while you guys come on. And my morning coffee. All right. Good morning, everybody. It is time for another day of Morning Oasis. I'm so excited to have you guys back. Let's see. So the weekend, how was your weekend? Mine was so-so. My son is, in a lot of pain. His thumb's hurting, and we don't know if he's going to need surgery. So we went and saw the doctor on Friday. For those of you who are following, I know a lot of my family in India is. This is how they're finding out what's going on. So the update is with the boy that the little piece of the bone that forms this joint inside the thumb right here, that broke. It broke off, like sheared off that little growth plate, that end point. And the doctor thinks that that piece, that fragment, is rotating inside of his hand. So if it's true, well, we have to get a CT scan so they can really see it, because they can't tell on the x-ray. And if that's true, if that's what is happening, then he's going to have to get a pin and put it back into place and realign it, because they can't align it without going in. So we'll find that out as soon as we find out when we're supposed to go get the CT scan, and it's just like, oh, such a trial. Thank you, Justine. Good morning. Yeah, so that's the update on SFOS for those of you guys who are wondering. I know my Indian parent-in-laws, his grandparents, and some cousins and uncles are watching this to find out what's going on. So today, Justine, was I supposed to pull a card for you this morning? I can't remember. Let me know if I was. I have one other person that I'm pulling for, Clary, and that's all the card pulls I've got for today. And today, the topic that we're going to talk about is that empathic, narcissistic dynamic that so many of us find ourselves in, and what is going on with that. We're going to kind of discuss that today in a little bit. Okay, I thought so. Thank you, Justine. So, Justine, I'm going to go ahead and pull your card first. Because I don't think Clary is here quite yet. Let me feel which deck wants to talk to you. Ooh, the Energy Oracle deck. We haven't seen that one in a while. Morning, Clary. You're next for card pull. So this is the Energy Oracle deck. I know I'm backwards. Facebook does that, especially when I have it so that the screen is facing me, which is the only way I can read your guys' comments while we're doing the show. So I'm backwards. Jessie. So Sandra Ann Taylor is the author of this deck, just in case somebody's wondering. And if you follow Shauna, my partner's angel readings that she does, she uses these a lot too. Morning, Siska. Okay, yeah, I can do one more. That's great. That's perfect. That's 3. How is everybody? How were your guys' weekends? Did anybody do anything special with this amazing full moon energy that we had going on this weekend? It was powerful, man. Powerful. I don't know about you guys, but it was really strong over here and intense. Ooh, okay. So I've got for you, Justine, the Angel of Balance, which is really probably for all of us. Card number 48 in this deck. When she comes up, this is really about what we're all working on this year. Last year was about experiencing our polarity. It was, we were going from one extreme to the other extreme. And some of us are still having a little bit of that left over, the remainder of what we have to work out. And that's funny because that's kind of what today's show is about. So if you're dealing with this, the Angel of Balance is one that you can call in and support you in finding that balance. It feels like right now there's some things for you that are feeling a bit kind of roller coastery at points. It feels like it might be more of an emotional roller coaster than perhaps like an actual huge big changes, but there's some of those too, it sounds like. So let's see, Justine. The advice from here is remaining conscious about how you're balancing your goals and your physical and your emotional energy as well. Whenever you feel yourself getting off center or losing focus, call upon this angel and bring your intention into your heart. I'll put the card back up so you can kind of see the symbolism and beauty in this card. Your intuition will lead you to the right direction, and the angel will guide you in peace and centered approach. So yeah, it's about finding that balance, that stability. One of the things that I recommend for people is that, yeah, I do know how your weekend went, Jessie, is that when you feel in any way triggered, you know, in any way feel like you're off your game, off of what you want to be, who you want to show up as, how you want to behave, when you're in a triggered state, even if it's like a high trigger, you know, some of us get really high, like I can get really up there when I'm excited and really over the top. So when we're in that state, what I recommend for people to do is to pause. Go to the restroom if you have to. Like I always say, nobody asks you what you're doing in the bathroom or why it took you so long or why you need to go suddenly. You just get to go. And go to the restroom. And I also think that doing this while going to the bathroom is a really powerful experience. And ground yourself on the toilet while you're sitting there. I like to turn the lights off and put the fan on if I have that option. So it's a very womb-like environment. And ground myself, release myself from everything that's going on around me. Bring that energy up through, just like we do in the show. And connect, bring that connection energy down and through, flow it through me, and then just look back at and run back through whatever it was that was going on that triggered you, either high or low, and review it again from that grounded and centered state, and then go back and re-engage once you feel like, oh, okay, I get what was going on there, I get where I was at, I understand what I was feeling. I can't tell you how many arguments I've avoided this way, and I can't tell you how many I wish I would have avoided by doing this instead of reacting, you know. So I'm not perfect. Like, I still get really triggered by my husband and by my son. They're really the only people left that trigger me for the most part. But for instance, you know, a friend of mine, she has a knack for bringing these relationships with these men into her life that are very triggering for me. I have a lot of background of trauma, and so these guys, they are huge triggers for me, and I did not follow my own advice when I was around them, and I instead just kind of tuned out or dissociated or went into this other space, and then I had to deal with that emotion then later. So I too am learning this. It's hard. It is the most challenging thing you can do when you're in that triggered state, to remove yourself from it and give yourself that time and space to actually evaluate what's going on for you, where you're actually at. So yeah, balance is what's being called for right now for you, and you can call that angel in to support you with that balance, Justine. Okay, so the next one is Clary. Let's see which deck wants to talk to you. Goddesses want to talk to you, Clary. I didn't even have to feel any of the other decks. They're like, me. So this again is the Journey to the Goddess Realm, the Oracle deck by Lisa Porter. I love this deck. I think it's great. Obviously, I love all of the decks that I use. Let's see. I see Jamie, you're on there, and I hope your surgery went well, Jamie. I hope so. Let's see. Go ahead and pull one for Clary. Clary is one of my more newer friends. She lives in Australia, and she is just exploding with the guidance and awakening. And Clary, you're not going to be at all surprised by this card. You have Kali working with you, the ending and beginning of things. This card is so beautiful. I'm just going to really bring it in close so you can see her. You know, Kali is one of my favorite goddesses in the Indian pantheon, in the Hindu pantheon. She is a warrior goddess. She is all about fighting demons and slaying those who betray others. She is a huge protector. You do not want to be on Kali's bad side. She is always depicted, usually, I mean, in here they've kind of beautified her a bit. In most Indian imagery of her, she is scary. You know, she has blood. Usually her tongue is sticking out, and then her chin is covered in blood. And that's because, you know, she'll rip people apart. Everything about her is a weapon, is a tool for bringing about this destruction. She wears a necklace of, usually I think it's ears, but here they have it as skulls. She has a skirt of human arms, right? I mean, she's a fierce protector. She's supporting you, and I happen to know that Clary is going through a huge ending and a new beginning in her life. Huge. So she's right there with you. And when you start to feel in any way like you're flagging Clary, or you need some support, or you just need to pull that warrior up out of you and have a little bit of ferocity, she is right there with you. So just know that you can call her and bring that energy in right away. I can already feel her right now. She's just like, you know, she's really intense. So yeah, and she's right there with you. There's also, I love in this card, they have kind of a looking like, you know, this trident like image. It also reminds me of a phoenix, and that's part of Kali's energy as well. You've got to tear down what is blocking in order to be able to grow something truly new, truly powerful, truly yours. So she is supporting you right now. And then Siska, let's see. Do the goddess, no, they don't. I have a feeling, Siska, already, which one it's going to be for you. Let's see. Yeah, the Earth Magic deck. I had a feeling. This is Earth Magic Oracle cards. This is by Stephen D. Farmer. I also really enjoy these. They're quite powerful. I love the messages from them, especially because they remind us to bring in those elements and really remind us that humanity is in the physical experience, and we need to start there. Start with our physicality, because that's where we're expressing at, and then go in from there. Go into our energy and understand those things. Now, that said, when you're trying to fix something or change something in your life, you got to address the energy and what's going on there as well. So I'm not trying to diminish that, but I love remembering the physicality piece first. Ah, Siska. Ursus is the disruptor and the conjurer, Uranus. Oh, that's awesome, Nancy. That's great to know. She said that Uranus is in conjunction right now and shaking things up. I think, if I remember correctly, Uranus has a moon right now that's erupting, really massive volcanoes erupting on it, if I'm remembering correctly. I'd have to look that up though. Okay, Siska, you got Gaia, nurturing energy. And, you know, Siska's one of those people that anytime I tune into her energy, honestly, I just feel like it's this warm teddy bear love energy. So gentle, so loving. I have a feeling, Siska, that you may not be taking enough time to do this for yourself. Yeah. It's time to start bringing that in for yourself. You are, and for so many people, that Gaia energy. And she's just reminding you to bring it in home, to bring it into yourself. And I'll look through and see what the book says also, just in case I'm missing anything that it sparks for me. And also, I don't know if you guys are noticing, but this energy shifting that's going on, it's going to be creating a lot of congestion in the head right now. It's that activation, deeper activation of the pineal gland and of your DNA. So much of our strands of DNA are being activated right now. We actually have a 12-strand DNA, not a 2-strand helix. And some of that is more of that is turning on right now, and that's going to continue. That's one of the reasons the earth is having so many issues right now, and so much quaking, so much shifting. We've already adjusted in our tilt to be able to receive this new energy, and now the planet has to just kind of shift its crust around a bit to get it to the right space. And the frequency of the earth has shot up. I mean, it's been at the Schumann resonance, it's been at like 7.9, if I remember correctly, hertz since the early part of, we started recording it and even found out about it. And it was a consistent, solid 7.9. And since 2012, it's been rising. And over the last, I would say 3 months, if I remember correctly, 2 months possibly, it's shot up to 36 points. It's 36 hertz. So the earth is changing. She is shifting into that fourth density of expression, and we're kind of being dragged along. And if it doesn't work for you to shift into that density of expression, which is understanding and love vibration, then you're going to be struggling with illness. You're going to be struggling with depression, with anxiety, with frustration. These things are going to be getting greater and greater. So on top of the massive pollen dump going on in spring, yeah, Oregon and the Willamette Valley has a huge pollen count as well. We've got a lot of grass pollen and tree pollen. So yeah, Jesse, you're getting a double whammy. Just remember that part of that congestion is also going to be this stuff. And when we do a conscious grounding and connecting and flowing that source and Gaia energy through our headspace, we will have a release of the congestion. It'll kind of come forward and we can release it from the body. And that will help too. That's what I tell my son to do when he's having a really bad anxiety attack. Have that conversation with the body. Thank you. I understand the pollen count is high. We're going to support you by doing our best to limit, but recognize you are not under attack. You are not being attacked right now. Having those kind of conversations for yourself is really powerful. The teddy bear energy for myself, good, Siska, because that's exactly what they wanted me to share with you, and that feels like it's connecting. So be a teddy bear for yourself, love. And if you need support with that, I am here. Okay, so let me just check in and see what if there's anything more in here. Yeah, nurture your body, offer fruits and fresh greens to the body. Thank her for even the air that we breathe. Nurturing our minds, awesome physical and dynamic beauty coming through you. Nurturing the soul. Yeah, it's about time to release yourself from that need to care for others and start bringing that into the self. So if anybody else would like a card pull for tomorrow, you can let me know, and I will be happy to pull cards tomorrow for you. I'll put it on the book and we'll move forward from there. Announcements, let's see. So again, I'm going to let you guys all know in advance. I'm just going to kind of keep putting this out there. I'm going to be on vacation with my husband in San Diego, and we're going on a whale watching trip. Oh my God, I'm so excited. So we're going to be down there from February 27th through March 3rd. That whole week will be no Morning Oasis. You're welcome to go watch some of the old videos, the old Morning Oases, catch up on ones that you missed. I might, depending, because he's at a conference, a technology conference, and I'm his sighted guide. So when he's in conferences, I might go on and post some of the older shows, being like, hey guys, this was a great one. You can watch this today instead. But that's all just going to be on different times. It'll be really hard for me to stick to a specific schedule because it's not my schedule. March 18th on a Saturday, my first live workshop is being hosted. Over the last year, I have been doing classes and workshops online in my Zoom classroom and recording them. And those are our classes that we sell now, are those recorded classes. The material has just been tested and proven good and strong and solid, so now it's time to start getting it out there. We have the curriculums all prepared. So my Take the Wata Out of Chakra workshop is going to be at New Renaissance on March 18th. We'll be going from 3 to 6 p.m. I think that there's only there's a limited number of spots. It depends on how we decide to do it. I really want for you guys to be able to have like your own kind of space to sit out on. So we're thinking of doing yoga mats so that you can lay back during some of the meditations that I guide and lead you through, especially when you're doing your chakra reset. It's really powerful to just be able to completely let go and lay back and do that. And if we do, then we only have 20 spaces available. You have to pre-order your tickets for that. They do allow walk-ins, but there would be no guarantee for the space at that point. And so if you are interested, you have to call and order your ticket. They're only $30. And I sell this workshop for $88, so that's a really good price. It won't be recorded for you, but I have decided to offer anyone who attends the live workshop the recorded workshop that I do have. So you will have access to be able to listen again and again, but it won't be the specific workshop that we're doing because it's always a little bit different. You know, it's dependent upon who shows up. That's what comes through. So you will get that recorded workshop, which is very powerful. So this is kind of the flyer about it. I'm also offering, if anyone is in the Portland metro area, and is interested, I'm giving free readings. So for help advertising, I stink at advertising. It is my least favorite thing to do. So if you are interested and you are willing to either post flyers, I can print them up and you can come pick them up, or I can send you a PDF. And if you do that and you post 13 flyers, I'll give you a free 13 card reading, which is the alchemical cross read that I do. It's really powerful if you haven't had one of those readings from me before. And if I do that with my tarot cards, by the way, and if you just feel like just sharing it, even if you're not in the Portland area and you think, oh, I have some friends that are over in the Pacific Northwest, if you want to share it, the event notification, then I'll do a 3-card pull for you. So that's that announcement. And the last announcement is March 25th. I'm going to be up in Kent, Washington at the Emerald Spiral Fair. That's going to be going from 9 to 5. And there's like, I think over 100 practitioners there. Yeah, I love 13 too, Justine. It's just one of my favorite numbers. I love to keep things using that number a lot. Numerology is such an awesome thing. Okay, so now we're going to move into the topic of today. So today I wanted to talk about that empath and narcissist dynamic. So many of us who are sensitive, who are empathic, intuitive, who are sensing and feeling what's going on around us, tend to end up in relationships, whether friendships, coworker relationships, or partnerships with people who are narcissistic. Now, when I say narcissistic, I am not talking about somebody who's just kind of self-absorbed. Narcissism is actually a personality disorder. It is the exact opposite, the polar opposite of an empath. An empath almost doesn't even have their own emotions and feelings. They're kind of like, what's around me? They're really open and reacting to whatever it is that comes around them. They're receiving. They're this receiver. And a narcissist is a total transmitter. They don't believe you have emotions. They don't believe they do either. They project their emotions onto you. And that is what they believe is your emotional state. So your emotional state in their mind is actually their true emotional state that they don't have any way of processing or have any concept of. And that's what a true narcissist actually is. They're not evil, they're not bad people, but they tend to unconsciously hurt people because they really hate themselves. You know, it's this self-rejection. It's a complete and total rejection of the self, where the empath is in almost a complete allowance state. So it's really, you've got these two poles, right? You've got that empathic pole and that narcissist pole. And everything that I understand and am reading about, and even in the Law of One understanding, what we're doing right now is using these polarities to create extreme growth and extreme lessons. That's a completely different way of looking at the relationship than how, as a society, we are being taught to look at this relationship. A lot of domestic abuse and domestic violence occurs in this kind of a relationship dynamic. So if you're in a situation where you are experiencing that level of abuse, I am not telling you to stay. I can't tell you to go. I'm not telling you to stay. That is something you really have to choose and decide for yourself. However, if you find that you are constantly attracting narcissists, my mother's a narcissist. She would completely disagree. She's also empathic. She's kind of a unique blend of those two things. And she was my starter. She was my trainer, right? And so to try and understand her throughout my whole life, I was creating relationships and friendships with women who are narcissists. And I had almost every really close friend that I had is a bit narcissistic. And it took me a long time to understand that, because I wanted to love them, and I do love them, and I did love them. And it's just like the mother. I loved my mother. I do love my mother, but it is so challenging to be in exposure to them. And so understanding that dynamic was my life work. I ended up marrying a narcissist, and I love him. And he drives me crazy. So we are in this constant struggle, this push and pull, push and pull. And ultimately, those relationships, what they do for the empath is teach you that you actually matter, that you actually are of value and of worth enough to be able to have your own experience, your own opinion, your own emotional state. They teach you to stop allowing others to project their emotional states onto you, to begin to understand the nature of that projection of emotional states. A lot of experience with narcissists, and that's exactly right. We learn so much about ourselves through that. It's not because what they're telling us and projecting on us is necessarily true about us. It's because what they're telling us and projecting onto us forces us to say, that's not true. Wait a minute, that's not true. And we don't normally do that. Normally we get stuck in the what's going on around us. One of the things that I had to understand about myself, and I did not know this at all before I started working with my first teacher, she said to me one day, she was French, so she had this really thick accent. And she said, Jessie, I have to tell you that when you came into my little house, it felt like you were so big, and I'm not talking about your size. Your energy filled my house, and it felt like the whole thing was going to quake. And I didn't know how to take that at first. I was kind of like, what are you saying? I don't think I'm that big. And she eventually explained it to me in such a way that I could understand, which was because of my background and history, naturally learned how to swell my energy out and to fill the whole space that I'm occupying with my energy, so that I always know what other people are sensing, what other people are feeling, what other people are experiencing, because that was how I kept myself safe. I also was subtly projecting into the room space calm through my fear of not calm, through my fear and protection. So I was actually projecting my energy out and influencing the whole space around me. I didn't understand that. And that is what the projection, the mirror of the narcissist was actually teaching me. I too was projecting my energy out through the whole space in an attempt to create safety for myself. See how the energy, the color of the light has gotten red and pink? This is like heart and root stuff. When we don't feel safe as an empath, our first instinct is to spread our energy out and go, okay, what is it that's not making me feel safe? Where do I feel unsafe at? And for others, if they're sensitive at all, that forces them to project their energy even more big and force their energy out into the space because they are feeling impinged upon by your energy. And that creates a dynamic that attracts the narcissist to the empath. Until I learned, and I still kind of am learning it, how to pull my energy in and keep my energy right here, knowing I am always safe. I am always well. I am always healthy. I am always protected by being a human being, by being a creature that has come in to do divine work, by being a piece of the divine, right? So I had to learn that, and I'm still learning that. That's just how challenging it is. So every time I get into this kind of a conflict with my husband, and I can consciously think of doing this, because remember, the hardest thing to do when you're triggered is to pause and go and deal with the self. We want to try and fix it on the outside. We project our energy out even more. So when we project that energy out even more, it makes the narcissist, who doesn't want to feel his own things or their own things, suddenly feel all the things you're projecting out. And they're like, no! It makes them project even more. And they're just better at it in that sense. And we, as the sensitive ones, feel that we've been attacked because our energy wasn't received. Part of the reason I struggled with this dynamic so much was because most people I encountered loved my energy. They loved being in the space with me. They loved feeling that I was all spread out. They felt that warmth. They felt that love. They felt calmer. They felt more peaceful. So other empaths loved being around me. And that made me go like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm good. That's their problem. It was so much easier to dismiss it as the other person's problem. So when I went the route for 14 years of trying to fight for my right, and I still get into that, fight for my right with my narcissist husband, fight for my right to speak up, fight for my right to stand up, fight for my right to have difference. I'm still working on this one, by the way. But that just took us to the ultimate battlefield. It was awful. Last year was awful in my marriage. It was one of the hardest years of our marriage. And I was so struggling with trying to understand how I could be responsible in any way, because it was so obvious that his behavior was exactly the problem. So that's what we're going to work on today in meditation, Andrea, is how to understand where our energy field is, how to consciously start engaging it and playing with it. How does that sound to you guys? Do you want to work on that? Or do you feel like I need to talk any more on this? Or should we just jump into meditation mode? What do you guys think? I'm going to drink some of my smiling coffee while you let me know. I'm thinking jump into the meditation. Okay. So what we're going to do today is start looking at our energy, okay? So go ahead and take a minute. Get comfortable. Start bringing yourself back into yourself. I know that for many of you, it's still a struggle to do that grounding and connecting without being guided. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick guidance into that. So start feeling your body in this space. Feel your body where it's connecting to things, connecting to the ground, connecting to the chair, connecting to the bed, the couch. Just start to feel the body as you breathe in and release. Breathing in this present moment. Bringing that breath all the way down into the belly and exhaling. And as you exhale, imagine you're just unhooking yourself from other people around you right now. Just unhooking from the people around you. Maybe not physically, but emotionally around you. Drawing those lines of connection in as you breathe in, all the way into the belly, and exhale. Start unhooking these lines of connection from the relationships and the situations with these people. Breathing in, present moment, drawing those lines in, bringing yourself more in, and exhaling. And start releasing yourself from all the expectations you hold of yourself in these relationships. Breathing in and exhaling. Continue this breathing as you bring your attention to the soles of your feet, feeling your roots growing out of your soles, growing out of your seat. You can include other areas that are aching or showing signs of stress or fear. Allow those roots to effortlessly and naturally, gracefully grow down. Feel them spreading wide. Let yourself connect in with all the others who are here in this space as we hold space for each other in this morning, evening, afternoon time. We're going to send some of those roots down into the center of Gaia, all the way down, right into the heart of Gaia, where it's chaos and magma and hot pressure, right? Where it's everything gets transmuted. Everything changes and goes into service for Gaia. Now I want you to start feeling that vibration in the soles of your feet and in your seat, feeling that rhythm and that pulse, and start drawing that Gaia energy up through the body, through the legs and hips. And as it comes, it's just scrubbing and cleansing and releasing any stuck energy that you may have. And when it's doing so, just take note of it. Don't try to change anything and don't try to fix anything. Just allow. The ocean is just flowing in the tide. It doesn't have a conscious intention to scour the beach. It just does so. So, bringing it up and through. Oh, good. Remember, if the voice needs to make a sound, that's part of it for you. Bringing it up through the abdomen, up through the chest, when we get those yawns and they kind of catch, that's an area that's just needing the intention of push the wave through to help release. Bringing it up through that heart and lung space, sending it down through the shoulders and out the arms, all the way out to the palms and the fingertips. We hold so much for others. Allow that to flow out, releasing it back out into the creation. Looping that energy back up through the arms, joining at the throat and neck and the back, coming up through the head. You may be feeling your sinuses clearing already or wanting to. If you need to blow your nose, go for it. Bringing it up through the sinus cavities, which look like a butterfly across your face. It's beautiful when you see images of what our sinuses look like. bringing it up into the crown, allowing that energy to bundle and gather here until you feel the pressure building, letting the tide rise, more Gaia energy until you feel that crown space building. Good, very good. And now opening up that crown and letting that light project up out of your head and go effortlessly and gracefully back into source consciousness, leading you effortlessly into the heart, all the way into the heart of God, of source. Very good. We're up in source, so let's just ask source to start bringing us down the most optimum attuning energy for our expression, for where we're at, and helping us to release in any way all we're ready to just let go of. And bring that source energy just like a faucet drip down through the crown, letting Gaia and source come back in through the head, just pouring and filling, bringing all the nutrients and love and vibrational alignment energy down through the head, through the throat, down the shoulders, sending it out through the arms and out the palms, allowing that source energy to project out of your hands, looping it back up and through the arms, coming down the back and the chest, down that heart and lung space. If you feel like you need more, it's abundance. It's true abundance. So just open the crown up a bit more and let more of that light come through that heart and lung space, really filling that heart and lung space up. Sending that energy down through the abdomen, down through your seat, down through your legs, all the way down and out your feet, allowing it to go down into Gaia, all the way down that taproot. And just take a moment in this space now. I want you to just observe where your energy is at. Start to feel out from you and just start to feel, if you need to and you can't feel it for yourself, use the compass tool that we've worked on so many times to feel, where does my energy actually reach to? What can I feel? Can I feel the walls around my house? Can I feel the house next door? Can I feel beyond that, out into the edge of my city limits, perhaps? How far is your energy projecting out from you at this time? Just observe. And if you're going really far out there, you might be experiencing things like fatigue, anxiety, frustration, emotions that feel unexplained, because you're picking up from all those people. Now, tell your energy for this time, for this moment, to come back in. Bring that boundary of the energy all the way back until it is literally just where your skin is. So your field does not go any further than your physical body. Just for this time, in this time and space. And bring it even more in until it's just around your heart chakra. All of your energy. You're going to start to feel kind of maybe a little cold, like a little bit like, ooh, numb maybe even in those areas that you're pulling the energy out of. We're playing with our energy, and it's okay. Tell the vessel it's okay. And now let it open up again and go all the way back out to where it's comfortable. Feel that expansion as it goes out. And bring it back in. This time we're going to bring it in just to the vessel's skin. We're not going to go back into the solid center state, just to our skin level. Now this time, I want you to tell your energy how far out it can go. So, for most of us, a 6-foot energy field around us, 6 feet out, is comfortable. That's still a pretty big field, actually, for walking around. So have it project out to just that 6 feet out from you, or 3 if you're more comfortable with that. Some of you are. Now I want you to imagine that your energy has almost like an elastic boundary around it. Just to feel that, just putting that boundary around it. That's your bubble of energy, your sphere of yourself. And know that when you're in your own home, in your own space, when you're happy and healthy, you can allow that to blow up and come back as much as you want. Just give it that permission in this space to play and feel it playing while it's doing so. Just take a moment to become familiar with your field. How many of you are having it try to extend all the way out? It's letting you know something. It really believes it needs to be out there. For those of us who struggle with weight issues, often what I have found, for myself included, is I puff myself out physically just to make sense of how massive my energy field is. That's something I've had to work on. Bring it back in to this comfortable space around you. Just bring it back in. Now I want you to visualize across from you as though you're sitting at a table with them, someone who has been violating your energy in some way that you feel like projects into you, that narcissist role. Just visualize them and see their energy field around them, sitting over there. Allow your energy to do what feels the autopilot responses and observe what happens. Do you notice how it immediately swelled out? Kind of went around them, surrounded them? And observe how they are expanding. Have you ever seen a bubble being blown up inside of another bubble? Imagine if those bubbles had feelings. So begin to pull your energy back from around them and bring your field just between you, to right exactly halfway between. Allow your energy to meet theirs without surrounding theirs. Just take this time. One of the things that we tend to do is make our energy hard when we're in a protective state. Try softening it so that it can actually flex and bend in that boundary between you and the other. And just note the shift in the other's energy as you begin to allow that softening. Begin to allow the possibility that even that relationship and dynamic you have called to teach you about your energy. Begin to allow that this lesson is one that you actually value. Continue to allow it until you start to feel that blossoming of gratitude for the exchange, for the dynamic. Because now you know your energy. Now you understand why you called someone to you that was so forceful in the projection of their energy. And release them from the need to teach you this any further. Begin to tell your vessel and your energy with your focus and your intention, we are always safe. Even if our energy is just only this big around us, we're always safe. And we can allow that energy to come up to us and then be pushed off whenever we need to. Because that dynamic, that push and that pull, is what is creating for us the most powerful lessons that we'll ever have in our lives. And allow your energy to see the truth of this dynamic. Your consciousness, as you shift into a state of understanding and love. This is the fourth density of understanding and love. Allowance. And see how that other is your polar opposite, so that they and you can create this unity together. For everything that you give, they take, and everything that they give, you take, and create that push and pull. Go ahead and continue in this state for as long as you choose. Remember, when you come back into yourself and you're ready to come out into the world, just observe what your energy is doing. Observe that elastic boundary. See when it swells and you start to feel overstressed, stretched too thin. See when it comes back in, feels compacted and oppressed. And start to allow. I love you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at the next Morning Oasis.